All right, awesome. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Entrepreneurs International Network, our weekly training call with leaders in the industry of of anything related that would help and benefit you in your business as an entrepreneur. Very, very excited about our guest trainer here today. So I'm gonna give you kind of the official bio, and then I'm gonna tell you a little bit about how he is connected to our work and that sort of thing. Just by the way, just so you know, to introduce myself, my name is Robert Evans. I'm co-founder of a technology company called Actionera. Actionera is the parent company of Entrepreneurs International Network. We have a couple different companies under our umbrella, and this happens to be one of them. So each week, I usually show up here to either interview or introduce to guest speakers and trainers that will provide some wonderful knowledge in various areas of running your business. And so that's me. But we're not here to listen to me today. We're here to listen to this amazing leader. So let me give you guys this bio here. Dr. James Dentley III is a knighted entrepreneur, best-selling author, and global speaker. As the founder of Limitless TV and Inspired2Speak Institute, he has empowered over 1 million people in 26 countries. A top business strategist, he's mentored 89 plus 7 and 8 figure earners worldwide. So that says a lot about the caliber of this individual here today. Now, personally, for me, Dr. James, Sir Dr. James, and I met on for the first time on the Marketers Cruise a couple years ago. We got to hang out. I don't know if it was while we were eating pizza or it was at the dinner table or something like that. But it's hard not to absolutely admire and fall in love with this individual because of how he shows up and how big he plays in the world. And Actionera is very lucky to be working with James in a couple different projects that we have going on right now. He's going to be one of our speakers at the Ultimate Speaker event that's coming up next month, which of course you guys will get some information on. He is also a big part of a project that we have called Action Talks Live, and is just an absolute brilliant mentor for any entrepreneur. So I'm very excited to have him here today and feel very lucky that he's here to share his wisdom with us. He's going to be speaking about how to speak with impact and confidence. And when it comes to this particular topic, there's really no one that's best at this. I'm going to shut up and I want to bring James on and introduce you to him because this man is amazing. So let me bring you on, James. Hey, James. Good to have you here.
Hello, sir. How are you, Robert?
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for
Fantastic.
taking time out. You're a very busy man, as we all know. So we very much appreciate you being here today to give us your wisdom. So I'm going to turn it over to you and let me know if there's anything I can do.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And first and foremost, I want to thank Actionera. I want to thank the Entrepreneur International Network. Special thank you for Robert for all that you do, for taking your creative innovative spirit and bringing it out to the forefront to help make all of our lives better. A special thank you for Becky, who is the wind beneath everybody's wings, because without Becky, nothing flies.
That's
And then
true.
Iman as well. I actually met Iman on my first Marketers Cruise, maybe about 9 years ago, and we met while we were swimming with the dolphins, or at least floating with them. So very, very honored to be there. And I want to thank each and every one of you. I don't take your time lightly. I've had the pleasure of speaking and training and coaching for now 30 years and been an entrepreneur for about 40. And I don't take any of those things for granted because I understand that no one has to listen to us, and nothing happens without the interaction, the exchange, the value exchange between one person to another. So thank you for being here. And also because 80% of success comes in showing up. You know, it begins right then and there. And that's what we mean when we say when a student is ready, the teacher will appear. But you have to show up to class because you may miss the very thing that could be a game changer for you, that can put you on a different trajectory. Well, again, I want to thank Robert for that introduction. I wish I could tell you a little bit more about myself, I'm also a published author, but I have a passion for helping people create success. I was very fortunate to get involved in a home-based business 32 years ago, and it allowed me the honor of being able to retire back in January 13th of 1995. And that's the last day I've ever worked for anyone, and be able to earn millions and tens of millions of dollars. And I don't say that to impress you, to impress upon you that everything I've done, the lifestyle my family lives, the things we get to do to help others, we were taught it. I was simply taught. And as I look back on the breadcrumbs of my life, I always say that you live your life forward, you understand your life backwards. Um, if I would not have been in a place of pain, a place where something needed to be changed right then and there, it would have prolonged me achieving whatever success I have, but my path would have been totally different. You know, I had to be ready to surrender to some things, to learn some new things, to let certain things die so others may live. You know, I've been an entrepreneur probably about 40 years. And even at 18 years of age, I was the youngest general manager in a restaurant chain. I ran restaurants throughout Chicago, throughout the state of Texas and Atlanta. And I was amazing at it. I was really good because when you're young, and I was the youngest one in the nation, but when you're young, being good is fun. And 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 you know, I always tell my son, and we have the same philosophy. He's 12 years old. He's working on becoming a chess master. And we said winning is more fun than fun is fun. We love to win. We talk about when the time we won the rest of our lives, but we can have fun each and every single day. So I want to start off with posing a question. And here it is. If there was a way that I could say how great you could be, would you listen to me? And right now, if you're willing to listen to me for just a moment, I want you to type yes in the chat. Now, keep your fingers there because I have another question. If there was a price that you could pay that would give you the life that you seek, would you be willing to pay that price today? If you're willing to pay the price for your goals and dreams, oh, give me another yes in that chat. Third question. If there was some work that you could do, would you roll up your sleeves? Because the work is on you. If you're willing to go to work to achieve your goals and dreams, type yes in the chat. Now, if there was a promise of silver and gold, of pleasures and treasures and fortunes untold, would you do what it takes no matter how tough? And would you dare never quit when the going gets rough? Would you build something great? Would you let it build you? Oh, yes, I know you have a dream, but there's something else you must do. Because when you're building that dream, the dream has to build you. So if there was a way that I could say how great you could be, would you listen to me? Um, You know, I've been training speakers and communicators for just under 30 years. I've been training breakthrough training, overcoming self-defeating behaviors, removing procrastination and the things that have held us back in our lives, the things that have kept us from moving forward into our greatness. I believe that when people, I've been doing that since 1999, and when people have that phrase, you all heard it, thinking outside of the box. I never believed in that because I don't believe there is a box. And if there is no box, there's only possibility. But when we think outside of the box, all we have to do is get right outside of it. And we don't have to go any further. I have learned that in the human experience, there is no limits for you, only a trajectory. Everything that is started from what is not, but it all begins with your vision. And those visions will be formed by the way that you choose to think, because your thinking will determine the decisions you make on where you show up, how you show up, and who you show up there with. It starts with the thinking and then the vision. If the thought, the thing, the mental, the physical, the inner, and then the outer. Even Van Gogh said that I dreamed of my painting and then I painted my dream. Everything that is began with something that was not. Everything's created from the void. If you look around the room that you're in right now, I challenge you just to look around the room, look at the light fixtures, the walls, the curtains, whatever's around you. And do you really understand that everything that you see once upon a time never existed? So how did it come to fruition? With someone's imagination. You know, 80% of our life is driven with our subconscious mind. It's driven on habit. Certain things we do, we get up in the morning, we don't think about it, we just do it. Sometimes we drive our car. You ever driven a car and you like pulled your head back because you weren't paying attention, but you were still in between the lines? Have you ever been off of your job or out of your business and you answered your phone at home as if you were at work? Or you were off and you were driving to the store, but your car just went towards the JLB. It's driven towards habit, driven towards the rituals that we created, the things that we anchor, you know? What you live, you learn. What you learn, you practice. And what you practice, you become. And then 15% of our lives are driven by our conscious mind. These are the things that are intentional, that we actually focus on, that we intend to do it, and we accomplish it. We set it out, boom, that's what we're doing. But then there's that 5%. The 5% is the most important part. That is your imagination, your ability to create. So if you would do me a favor, everybody just hold their hand out like this. Hold their hand out in front of them. I want you to look at your hand, and I want you to imagine a red apple. I want you to look at your hand, and I want you to see a red apple with the stem and all in your hand. The apple is also wet, so I want you to see beads of water on that apple that's in your hand. So I want you to imagine that apple. Now I want you to turn that apple green. And now turn that apple yellow. And you can do that. Because when you use the word imagine, the brain will always trail to whatever you say next. So that's a very powerful tool. When I talk about communication, I love it because communication is the life force in this universe. Everything in the world speaks. How do you think the birds and animals know how to exit stage left if there's a fire or a calamity? They're the first ones to get out of here. Even in the sea, thousands of miles, the creatures of the sea can communicate underneath the water because there's what communication even in the water because it's all frequency. Everything that's moving is in the wind, it's everywhere. You know, we proved this theory and this conversation by, well, I'll ask you this question. In the room you're in right now, do you hear music playing? Now, if there's no actual music playing, you'd have to say, no, I don't hear it. But if we put a radio in that room with you and we plugged it up and turned it on and tuned it into a station, would we hear the music? Well, of course we would. But is the music in the radio or is the radio just picking up the signals that are already in the room? Everything communicates. Have you ever been in a mall or been out somewhere and you could tell someone was staring at you? Or you thought about someone and they called you and said, "Oh," or you called someone, they said, "We were just talking about you. Are your ears burning?" Energy is very real. And in communication, when you understand how to channel that energy, that frequency, that life force, then you can, when you communicate about your business, or if it is your business, when you communicate to your spouse or your children, then you can not just speak into their listening, but also into their nervous system. That you'll learn to tell stories about your business, about your life, where you can take a person on a journey within themselves that they can never go on by themselves. Now, so where does it begin? You know, it's been said that public speaking is the number one fear, second to death by fire. We'd rather burn up than somebody see us out there and embarrass ourselves, right? But when you think about it, why do we have that anxiety? I was on a podcast once, and a gentleman, Paul Brown, asked me the question, the final question. He wanted to stump me. And he said, James, I have one final question. I said, well, what is it? He said, what do you fear? I said, well, first of all, fear for me doesn't really exist because I understand the chemical reaction that happens in your body when you're facing the unknown at times. But it really doesn't exist. It's just what it is as you define it as. That's really what it is. Because the bottom line is that the worst that can happen is that you or somebody does not make it home alive. But there's going to come a day when none of us will. So I pretty much do well with things that are natural in the spirit of life itself. So it's not about being afraid of that. It's about really choosing to live, to really choose life, to experience it. And to do that is about communication. Do you know the trillions of cells inside of your body, they also have to communicate. They have to stand up with confidence. They have to operate to keep us alive, to keep our body functioning, even to shed skin 24 hours a day. There's always a conversation going on inside of you. Sometimes you talk to yourself. How many people on the line right now would admit that you talk to yourself? Yeah. And everybody say, yeah, I talk to myself. Yeah, I have staff meetings with myself. Okay. But let me ask you a question. When people talk to themselves, and you see people talking to themselves, sometimes you look at them like they're a crazy person. You ever been down in the city or downtown in whatever your city is and seen someone just out there talking to themselves? And you don't go and start striking up a conversation with them. You kind of avoid them a little bit, and so people are pretty much embarrassed to talk to themselves. And they tell me, well, no, I'm not, James. No, I'm not. And I say, well, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been driving down the street in your car and you were talking to yourself and someone pulled up next to your car and looked at you and you acted as if you were singing, just soul out? Yeah. But Carter G. Woodson once said that every now and then I must talk to myself because sometimes I'm in need of an intelligent conversation. I want to talk about speaking with confidence and power. And first of all, removing the anxiety, the so called fear of public speaking. Okay. Because when someone has that anxiety and that emotion in their body, that means number one, they're moving into an unknown territory. Number two, they're afraid of how they're going to look, how they're going to sound, how they're going to come off, what are people going to think, because somebody gets to see all of me. I'm just out there. Okay. Now, that means that it's all about you. So this is my philosophy. I've been training speakers for 30 years and we've had a lot of success doing it, and presenters as well. And when I teach people one foundational principle that we live by, that when you're on a stage, whether you're in your boardroom or whether you're on a stage in front of 5 people or 50,000, you are not the star. You are the director and the audience is the star. You only have one goal: to help whoever's listening to you get their Oscar, get their Emmy, get their award. In other words, help them win, to help their life become better. And then it becomes conversational. So I teach people a system of which I show you how to put yourself in state before you take the stage of any audience, even if you got to go home and talk to your significant other and you're ready to have a tough conversation. How do you put yourself in state? So when you're communicating, you can communicate not just with the words, but with the energy that emits from your body. 57% of communication is nonverbal. So how do you walk on a stage, or why do you walk in front of a room and not only feel comfortable, but that people can feel you before you utter a word? What we call it F45, your first 45 seconds. How do you own that room? How do you do it before you even get on that stage? How do you put yourself and be so present, so in tune, such a sense of clarity by connecting? And as entrepreneurs, or whether you have a corporate job or you own your own business, it's important, especially today, that we learn how to connect. Not connect with what? With the universe, with everything, because you're part of it. Think about it like this. When you eat a piece of chicken, you don't become the chicken. Chicken becomes a part of you. When you eat broccoli, you don't become a vegetable, hopefully, but it becomes a part of you. When you ingest oxygen, it becomes a part of you. Now, the oxygen that you ingest, what has it touched before you ingested it? Every tree, every blade of grass, the cars, everything. Okay. So in essence, you're a part of everything. Our chemical makeup as human beings is the same chemicals as the earth itself. Okay. So first of all, when you're in tune, then you can hear, listen, and be able to communicate on a different level, but you have to learn to calm down and get in sync. Meditation is the key. Meditation is the key. And after that, you've got to read more, write more, and speak more, because you get good at what you do often. So now, once a person understands how to get on that stage and how to channel their energy and hold everybody in an energy field in that stage. So when I'm straight, my energy is here. If I walk this way, I get to the side where my energy, and I pivot and I encompass the room and hold it. Once you understand how to channel your energy, so again, people will feel you, not just hear you. One of the things I love about what we get a chance to teach is the psychology of the communication, because almost nobody really teaches it the way we do. The first thing we teach you is to understand the personality types And many of you have taken personality profiles before, but the difference with us is that we're going to teach you how to become the personality that you're not. And I'll give you a good example. All of us have the 4 basic personalities, whether they're going to be tools or colors or animals. I use the dolphin, the shark, the urchin, and the whale. Okay. Now, we all encompass 1, 2, or 3 personalities, but we also are weaker at another. Have you ever had a conversation or interaction or met someone and you just didn't connect? Either there's a value issue or there's usually a personality conflict because you don't even know why you chose not to really pursue something or be in agreement with that individual, okay, on any level. So let's walk through it. The shark is someone who's extremely aggressive. They love to win. They love to dress in nice clothes. They keep their car shiny. They like really nice cars. They're money motivated and driven, but they sometimes come off as a little callous, a little uncaring, a little hardcore, but they're very competitive. You have a team, you want that person, right? We all know people like that. Then we have the dolphins. The dolphins love to have fun. They're going to show up late, but when they get there, they're the life of the party. And that dolphin would wear colors. If you see someone with big earrings or big jewelry around their wrist or around their neck or colors in their hair, that's a dolphin. You already know it. Okay. Now, dolphins are late and they're not organized. And then you have your urchin, Urchin. Urchins are very analytical. Okay. They love facts. They like things that start punctual. They dress in conservative colors. Sometimes they can be a little anal. Okay. But they're very organized people that are very particular about how the way things are done and where they're placed. And then you have your whales. Your whales would be your nurturers. They dress in earth tones. They like causes. These would be your social workers, where your urchins would be more your engineers. Okay. These would be people who care. They don't care about if you won. Did you enjoy yourself at the game? Did you have fun at the game? Now, a dolphin and an urchin and a whale are total opposites, but they attract so they can be married or be in business together. Okay. But they have a conflict because one just cares, the other one wins. Okay. And then you have the urchin, which is on time and very neat and organized. You have the dolphin is very sloppy, and they can be together because the dolphin will keep the urchin busy and validate the urchin because the urchin has a pickup behind the dolphin. Okay. But they're total opposites in the way that they think. If you start your program late, and that's why I appreciate the way Robert started, it's on time because the urchins, they appreciate that. Now, the dolphins, they come in just a little bit late or they're a little distracted or they got to run back and get something, and that's fine. But the dolphins don't like a lecture. It'll make their behind hurt, okay? And the brain can only absorb what the behind can endure. So that's the first thing. So when you're speaking, you have to learn how to paint an audience. When I'm in front of an audience, I paint if I don't know who's there. And I touch dolphin, shark, urchin, whale. Dolphin, shark, urchin, whale. And I'll give you an example. I have the pleasure of introducing Robert to an audience, and Robert has documented himself in this industry. He knows 100% of the facts of this industry and how to help you become successful. When I say facts, then the urchins' brainwaves light up. Robert is going to teach you how to make money. He'll teach you how to get paid so well when you write a check, the bank will bounce. He'll teach you how to get on the other side of money. Sharks like that. He's going to teach you how to win. Okay, now they enjoy it. You're going to have a lot of fun in this session. I promise you won't be bored. He loves to have fun, and you'll find yourself laughing and chuckling just over and over by some of the things he says, and that's for your dolphins. And then you lower your voice and you say, but most importantly, he's willing to help everyone who's willing to learn. When you plug into our 360 Masterclass, which is going to be our gift to you, we have a live masterclass on Monday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm going to give you the information on how to get that so we can send you that link. But if you can't make it, we actually own a television streaming and podcast network called Limitless TV, formerly JD3 TV. And if you go to jd3tv.net and you go get you a free account on us, get you a free account, and that's going to be open for free all for the remainder of the day for you guys. Then you go to the masterclass section. We have TV shows, movies, we have masterclasses. And soon you're going to be able to see the Entrepreneur International Network masterclass and speakers there, and some of you will be able to be featured there. Who knows, at some point. But go to the masterclass section, and when you click on masterclasses, you're going to see the 360 masterclass. You click into it, and it's recorded there for you. And the full training is there. Now, the second part of this equation is that but now we have to learn how to use our voice like the soundtrack of a movie. The first thing I love to teach when we have our live camps and even our virtual camps is how to breathe. And everybody says, well, I breathe all the time, but that doesn't mean you know how to breathe, to project. If you're a singer, you understand how to sing from your diaphragm, to take the oxygen from your diaphragm out. I was in martial arts for 13 years. I taught for 3. And as a competitor, I knew that how to take the power of the chi, the oxygen in my abdomen, and drive it out into a blow, into a block, or into absorb a blow as well. That's why you hear the martial artists, when they hit something or when they get hit, that's why they do that. They're chaos, because they're driving oxygen to a level. When you're speaking, we're going to teach you how to drive oxygen into your words. And even if you're having a one-on-one conversation, you don't have to scream, but you have to make sure that you're speaking into the individual across from you. And you should be very still. You should be very in sync, in harmony, and relaxed. And then that's the ultimate communication, because then you see everything. So now we're going to talk about how to use your voice like the soundtrack of a movie. Now, I'm going to give you an example. Have you ever seen, we've all seen horror movies, or we've seen comedies, and there's a soundtrack that kind of anchors the emotion and anchors the scene that the director and the writers want you to experience. It's all about the experience. So now, let's just say we're looking at the movie Scream. It's a horror picture. They got the guy has a long black robe, a long white mask on, and he's got a knife, right? So now you saw the star go up the stairs. She went behind the door, and you knew that the slayer is behind that door. He just walked in. And she walks in, and there's some music that brings your body to tension, that drives the scene that you're watching. And then she walks in, and your body will flinch either slightly or a lot. And then the door closes, and nobody's there. So it takes your body to tension and brings it back down. But he has to be behind the curtain because he's in the restroom. So then you know he's behind the curtain, and then sometimes you guess he's not going to be there because you've seen it enough, and then boom, he's not there. And then she turns around, and he's right there with the knife. Now, what would happen if the soundtrack was like this? It would change the scene completely. Okay, change it completely. So when you're speaking, you want to learn how to use your voice in order to create the impact with your children, with your loved ones, in your corporate, and to create culture, to inspire people, to want to go do the things you want them to go do, okay? It's how you use your voice. So if you got a pen and paper, I want you to write this down, and we'll go through it again on Monday. Loud and fast is impact. So on the upper left side of your paper, you write the words loud and fast, impact. When you speak loud and fast, you jolt the nervous system automatically. When you set yourself on fire, the world will come out and see you burn. Now, you don't have to scream and sound like I sound. You're just going to raise the octave of how you normally speak. Loud and fast is impact. Loud and slow is for emphasis. That's where you get applause line. The world will come out and see you burn. Yes, we can. That's emphasis. You're emphasizing a point. You're pressing that point into the subconscious, okay? Now you write low and fast, and that's for engagement. When you speak low and fast, your urchins love that because they know you know your stuff. You can't write it down. You can't memorize it. The speaker's speaking too fast. You're speaking too fast because they don't need to memorize it. They need to know that you know. They need to know that I know, okay? And you can just do it as fast as you want because you can wow your audience if you read more, write more, and speak more. So when I'm talking about procrastination, if I want to go low and fast, I can say, well, he's the story of the man who would figure and plan of all the things that he intended to do. Yet when the time came for him to get in the game, he never put anything through. Oh, he dreamed with a smile of the after a while of all the things he'd do pretty soon. He was already at heart, but he would never start. He could never quite get into tune. Yet if he had done all the things he begun, he'd be lifted amongst those of fame. But he would not produce, for he was of no use. Good impressions and good intentions would never win the game. It is easy to dream, to plan and to scheme, and then let your dreams drop out of sight. But only the ones who put through what the dreams bring to view will be the ones who will win the fight. Now, when I speak low and fast, it's for an engagement. You know, I know, but I also have a rhyme, a prose to it, because that's what's called attacking your open loop. The brain seeks closure. The brain always seeks what's next. And that's because we were always raised on, and I'm talking to the 8-year-old child that lives in every adult at the same time. Because all of us are raised with Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep, or Rockabye Baby on the Treetop, or Cat in the Hat, or Roses Are Red, Violets Are Blue. These are things that are just anchored inside of us. So when somebody hears, well, I do a poem and it's rhyming, then the brain is seeking that. And I'm going low and fast because I want to catch the next cadence. And I'll come back to that in a minute. Now, low and slow is for emotion. When you set yourself on fire, the world will come out and see you burn. So I can go loud and fast and jolt your nervous system. I can do emphasis and take it like this, boom, boom. I can bring it down and be low and fast and make it speed up a little bit, but be very smooth and easy. And I could lower my voice and slow it down, and I can relax you and your entire body with my voice. Okay. So once you know how to put that together with personality traits, it's not about learning what personality you are. Many of you have already taken a personality profile. It's about learning how to communicate into a personality that you are not. So if I'm talking to an urchin and I want to touch my urchins, I'm going to give them facts, figures. You know, Aristotle called this ethos, logos, and pathos. Even back in those days around the fire, they had to develop the core strategies of speaking and communication. Even then, that's how important communication is. It was one of the first languages because you had to learn how to be in harmony to create community. Even when you're doing your social media, it's about harmony, and you can drive that even with your written words, because you can put the energy behind the words on how you craft those words. So on Monday, we're going to kind of walk through exactly how do you craft it. If you want to market your business, advertise more, if you want to attract more customers, you want to create community, if you want to drive your business to the stratosphere, the way you do it is by creating community, subscription base. Why do you think Apple is worth $3 trillion? Well, think about every other company that soon will be $1 trillion. Pretty soon we'll have $1 trillion money earners in this nation within the next 3 years. Trillions of dollars. Be earned by companies, but then also by individuals. That's $1,000 billion. Woo! Okay. Subscription base. Apple, they had the computer. They came with the iPhone. Then they got the pad. Okay, made it more flexible, more mobile, more chic. Okay. Then they came out, and then they got the music. Then they had the movies and the streaming. Okay. But everything's around subscription because they understood one thing. And for all entrepreneurs, this is something like really, hopefully you can get this no matter what you're doing. If you have a customer, a client, an organization, members, congregation, whatever it is, isn't it true that when they leave your presence, they go and spend money on something else? Of course we do. So how do you get in front of that of value, of high quality, great value, because you're a trusted resource already? And if you do that, you can grow and scale any business. You write a book, you should be able to sell 100 to thousands of books in your first week. If you have the community, you have to make the investment of people. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. If you nurture them and you take care of them, if you mess it up, you fix it. And then you communicate that in a way with your voice where you have taken them on a journey and given them an experience that they cannot get anyplace else. And you do it over and over and over again. And always wake up and ask yourself, how do I become better? How do I communicate even better, how to stronger? How do I inspire my children to play their best? And when they feel down and pick up and to laugh it off a little bit. You know, in my household, we always have this thing about being positive. So my son was very young. He's 27 now. Well, my second son, my youngest is 12. Okay. We always talk about being positive. So he comes in the house one day. He said, Dad, he's looking down at the floor, looking disheveled. I said, What's wrong, little James? His name is James Dentley IV, J4. I said, What's wrong? He said, Dad, I'm afraid I failed my math test. I said, Son, not here. You know, we have to be positive in this house. And he looked at me, and he's a smart aleck like me. And he says, Okay, Dad, I'm positive I failed my math test. Okay. So we learn to take things and laugh at them, even though they are serious, but not things that are not appropriate to laugh at, but to not take everything so seriously. To take a bad day and understand there are no bad days. There are just days. But it's all about how you're going to communicate and how you're going to interpret what's happening. And interpretation is communication. Okay. So when you learn all these things, learn how to put them together, then the magic begins to happen because you'll be able to speak to people and make things happen. They don't know what it is. Now, I was talking about an open loop. The brain seeks closure. The brain always seeks what's next. So whether you're doing a commercial or whether you want to tell a story about your business, whether you want to be a speaker, matters not. Okay. Have you ever been singing a song and you didn't know one of the words, so you skipped the word or you made up a word? We've all done it, right? The next time you hear the song, your brain is seeking the gap so it can fill it. And that's how you learn songs. They set that in commercials. They set that in television shows. Why do you think they have Fast and Furious number 12, a sequel? What's going to happen to Dom this time? Okay. That's soap operas. General Hospital, 62 years. What's going to happen to Sonny? Is Sonny going to have a heart attack? What's going to happen to Michael in the hospital? The brain needs to know that. So when you're speaking, when you're creating experiences, even in your business, what's next? What's next? When people win things, they love to be recognized. People work for money, but they die for recognition. That you can recognize your customers, your clients, your employees, and you can drive the behavior by how you communicate with them, but then you back it up with the actual communication. And when you speak to them, they know you speak not to them, but in them. And it's a lot of fun. And you'll be a lot happier and you'll be a lot smoother and less stressful in your life because nothing matters until you allow it to matter and you define that. And that's called being inner directed versus outer directed. Okay? Communication is a lot of fun, but it's anchored in the way that you think. We can talk about on Monday, we're going to talk about embedded commands. Okay. How do you tell the brain to react and do something? Because if you're anything like me, you like this type of information. If any of this information is valuable, if you're like me, I like this type of stuff. If you're like me, write yes in the chat. Just type a yes in the chat. Let me see what I'm saying. Let's see if I still got you. Okay, there you go. There you go. Now I just gave you an embedded command. Do you know what it is? If you know what that embedded command I gave you was, type it in the chat. Let me see if you got it. All right, I give you, make a deal. I have another special free gift. The first person that can guess the embedded command that I said. And every time you hear me speak, I'm going to give you one. What's the embedded command? I said something and say, look, you're anything like me. You like this type of content. Yeah, you got it. Catherine, okay, you got to write Catherine's name down there. You got it. It said, be like me, or I'm telling you to like me. To be like me, but more importantly, I'm saying like me. If you're anything like me. So I'm telling them embedded command is like me. Let me write Catherine's name down. All right. Sayson. Catherine, do you like to travel? You like to travel, Catherine? Do you like cruises? Okay, very good. Catherine, I'm going to talk to Robert. I'm just being a little presumptuous, but I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you a voucher. On our TV network, we have a lot of amazing gifts just for people being in our network and in our community. I'm going to give you a voucher for a 5-day, 4-night cruise in the Caribbean. You can go from 4 different ports and you got 4 different cruise lines. The only thing you will pay for will be the port fees and taxes, which would probably be a couple of $100. But the cruise itself is all yours, 5 days, 4 nights, just because you guessed. Okay. Now I'm laying. Now we got to get the information, and Robert will get that information to me, and we'll get you. All we need is your email. We'll send it to you. Just email it back so you know you got it, and my team will support you in the back of it, and you'll have that tomorrow, Catherine. So congrats. Let's everybody else congratulate Catherine. That's an embedded command.
Catherine, if you would do us a favor, put your email address as a private message to Becky,
Okay.
then she can get you that information from James. Thank you.
That's always congratulate success. Always congratulate people winning, because you have to celebrate wins. You have to celebrate success if you want to have it. To create money is so easy. You create money. You create money by creating the value of it. Money will always go where it's invited. It will stay where it is welcome. I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. Money goes where it's invited, and it stays where it's welcome. When you invite someone to your house, don't you prepare your house to receive guests? So there's an expectation behind it. So you're acting, and your energy, and the way you sit, and the way you clean up around you, and keeping your chakra, and keeping your feng shui, and keeping your area open for possibility. You're not cluttered. Money goes where it's invited. If I invite you to my home, I am preparing my home to receive you. It stays where it's welcome. If you come to my home and you don't feel welcome in my home, you don't stay at that home. But if you make the money feel welcome, it never wants to leave your home. Okay. One thing about a philosophy and one thing about a principle, they operate. It doesn't matter what you think, they're just going to always operate. And all of that is locked into your communication. How are you speaking? You can't talk a lot about bills and expect to get wealth, because what you're doing is highlighting and communicating more of that lack of strife and stress in your life. So when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change, and that will open up possibility for everything in your life. Everything. So the hills come in my help, man. You just look at it and say, look, this is what, if money's in the room, I'm getting it because money loves me. And it's not about money, it's about expression. So I don't ever want anybody to think it's all about money, 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 money. It's about expression. But what can you do if you don't have any money or any financial resource? Because a lot of people don't have a lot of time, and then some people don't have a lot of money, and some people don't have any time or any money. And that's a problem. You don't need to be in both of those spaces. But what if you got money as an issue out of the way? What type of time would you spend with your loved ones? What kind of self-care would you have? How would you live your life? Where would you go? Where would you explore? How can you grow? What can you invest in to become even better? Who can you help? Can you help a parent, a grandparent, a kid, a grandchild, or even somebody else's kid in the community? Can you be ready if there's a medical emergency? All these things are about communicating in your mind what you want. It fires. What is it that you want? Communicate it, write it out, and dream really, really big. I remember in 1992, I had moved to Atlanta. I had gotten divorced, and I sold all of my business, and I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, and man, I am on a sleeper sofa. And I'm just trying to do the best I possibly can. I go over a friend of mine's home. His name is Carl Patillo, and Carl always did well. He always met in the 80s, and we went out to a club somewhere. He'd get Louis the 13th. It was $85 a shot. Now, I didn't like it, but $85 a shot, I'm drinking it. I want to experience this. I've never seen such a thing before. I was at his home in Atlanta, and I had an idea because I'm trying to get back what I had lost. And I said, Carl, man, I got a great idea. He said, what is it? I said, I'm going to make $1 million. You know what he said? Just one. He robbed me from thinking small again. It doesn't take any more effort to think really big than small, because it's not about you. Write this down. Your success is someone else's miracle. Now, I'm giving you a lot of nuggets here, but that's all in how you communicate for yourself, because you can't get me to buy you until you buy you. And you don't have to be perfect, because if something goes wrong, be a person that will just fix it. Be a person that cares, a person that's willing to go. You want me to go to war with you? Then you go to war too. Don't send me. Let me go with you. Let me teach me through your example. Because if you can touch a life, there's no greater rewards you can ever get. touch of life, and you can move money out of the way because you can create it, because each and every one of you, and I don't have to know who you are, but this is what I do know. Each and every one of you have a gift. If you learn how to communicate that gift right and package it right and communicate it to the masses the right way, then you will solve problems from other people who are going to go some of the things that you've already been through. And people would pay you for that, because if they don't, they're going to pay if they don't pay. And they're going to pay if they do. And you get to build a story and a testimony. Write your book, tell your story, monetize that, create even more value, create programs and products, and you build up a base and a network. And then you can market somebody else's stuff and don't do any of the work and just take 20% of what you give them. It's really, really simple to create money. It's really simple. And I'm a fan of it. You know, we have 7 charities under our foundation. Every year we pick 7 charities, and we keep them from a year, from June to June. We raise money for them. We support all their galas, sell tickets for them. We feature them on different television shows as well. And we actually donate money for them, or we raise money, we get sponsorship, some of that goes to them. Every year we pick them over and over and over. Okay. And I got that spirit from someone who chose my charity to be part of his 7. And when he passed on, I took it up and took it over. And we met the most incredible people. If you want to get into major rooms and you want to level up your community and increase the power of the proximity, and it's not about money, I'm talking about good people who have resources, okay? Then you do that in a nonprofit arena, okay? Be very conscious of where you spend your time and who you spend it with. Now, don't get away and don't get rid of all of your friends and family members. You never have to do that. Write this down. Your goals and dreams will create separation. Your goals and dreams will create separation. So I'll give you an example. If I have a goal to become really financially successful, then I am doing the things that will get me there. Okay. Because you cannot get someplace you're not going. So I'm doing the things that will get me there. The first thing I got to do is invest in myself before I ask someone to invest in me. Somebody wants me to pay them, but they don't even want to invest in their own self. They don't want to, they're not working on getting better. They're just operating on what it is they want because there's still lack somewhere. Okay. And there's no lack in the universe. So if you have a goal to become successful, then you're doing the things and spending some time in classes and these classes that they have here in this community, learning how to communicate better, stronger, more effective, and with people who support your dreams, people who are in agreement, because everything will work once it's in agreement. If it's disjointed, it's like having a wire that's frayed. You can't get you can't get a power through it because it's not connected. It doesn't belong there. It belongs here. Okay. So you want to make sure that you have goals and dreams. Now, if I want to bowl on Tuesday, nothing wrong with bowling. I'm bowling on Tuesday. You're on here with Robert and Becky and Mind Learning. You're busy reading some books. You're spending time with your family. Okay. You're doing the things that other people won't do, so you can have the things tomorrow other people won't have. And it doesn't make you better than them. It just makes you separate than them. Okay. Now, on Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard, we're going to do a 90-minute masterclass. I'm going to open it up for some Q&A. I can go on and on and on with this stuff because I teach these, because some of my classes, I actually go, 12, some of my classes used to be like 12 hours a day, 5 days a week. And I just love doing it. And I don't have to do it. I was in network marketing, man. I retired 30 years ago. I left my job. And I've been very fortunate to know what I'm doing and how to teach it to build a powerful residual income. But I do it because I love it, but I still charge for it because it's my business. Because I can't create wealth and teach you how to do it if I'm not doing it. Because you can't count the score in yesterday's ball game. Okay. So we're going to do that on Monday. If you can't do that, you can go to LimitlessTV.net. It's in the chat, both of them. Get your free subscription to our TV channel network. You're going to get a free gift for doing that, some Bluetooth headphones. I think you pay like $10 for the shipping and handling if you want them. They're worth about $140. And then you go to the masterclass section, click on the masterclass, Inspired2Speak Masterclass 360. If you miss it, you get the recording, but we'll have a series of them as well. So I'm going to open it up for some Q&A in these last 9 minutes. Hopefully some of the things I have given you have been a benefit to you. But I want to finish my segment by saying this. You know, most people don't know how fast they can swim until they have sharks that are pursuing them. But the ones who succeed in life's great race are the ones who wisely set their pace. That pace is not set as fear requires, but every stroke is a product of their desires. So if you ever find yourself sitting in a world filled with decisions, you can choose to be guided by your fears or by your visions, but not here, not at the Entrepreneur Institute and International Network. You don't do that. You're the ones who set high goals. You're the ones who reach high marks. And please don't be waiting to see those sharks. So just remember to follow your dreams wherever they lead. Never get distracted by less worthy deeds. Shelter them and nourish them, help them to grow. Let your heart hold them down deep where dreams go. Follow your dreams, pursue them with haste. Remember your life, the only one you'll get is too precious and too fleeting to waste. So be faithful and be loyal. And all your days through, the dreams you follow will always come true. If you want to open it up for some Q&A, I'm all yours.
I love it. I love it. Thank you.
You.
All right. Does anybody have any questions? You can raise your hand and we can unmute you, or you could put your questions in the chat. Oh, Catherine. All right. The winner of the cruise. Let's bring Catherine on. Go ahead, Catherine. You should be able to unmute.
First, thank you very much, Sir Dr. James Dentley. That was very engaging. I loved your rhymes. Are these things that you work hard, you kind of gather up all your life principles and you put them into prose and you memorize them and you practice and it just flows.
Yeah, some you create and some I create, some I read, and some I get and I change it. And again, when the rhyme, our brain seeks the next course, but also you're talking to the child. When you grew up with this stuff, so it's always engaging. I could be in a room, Catherine, and people are being rambunctious or they're back at the bar and they're really loud. If I say a rhyme, they all calm down and come back. So everything is about the psychology, but in a very authentic and honest, integritous way. But the key is really to just learn just to be you. You can just, and it'll come. And you read more, you write more. And that's what I love to train people how to do.
Okay. Thank you. I love that.
Yeah. Thank you. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you, Catherine. Enjoy it. Anybody else have any questions or comments or anything like that? You can go into the chat if you do, or raise your hand, or throw something at me. All right.
Okay.
So I highly recommend. I mean, I think one of the things I didn't mention at the very beginning was that we are very excited to be creating a channel on Limitless TV with Sir Dr. James Dentley on the Action Talks. We got some really great things that are coming up there. It is, I mean, in the world of streaming and content, we're bombarded with just so much stuff that doesn't feed us, that doesn't really take our lives, our businesses, our mindset to a whole nother level. And that site, Limitless TV, is all of that. It's exactly what we need in this very organized way with really brilliant messengers on there just sharing their message in their own shows and content that Dr. James is actually creating with a lot of other people. So I wanted to acknowledge you, Dr. James, for creating that and for the work that you do in the world. It's just really inspiring. So just good work. Just really good. It's amazing to see it evolve over the last couple of years since you were first talking about it a few years ago. It's pretty special. So
I have a habit of saying I'm gonna do something and it gets done. I don't know how, but everybody tells me that.
Yeah.
It's just the work and the joy of it. And I actually created this because during COVID, speakers had no place to speak. And I wanted to create a place for them and give them something that they can also have the opportunity to own a piece of it, to give them a chance that Netflix could go give them any ownership. So how do they actually do that? So I'm one of those. Have you ever seen those Emu Bird commercials? I'm a dreamer.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. You're not just a dreamer. You're a dreamer that turns it into reality, which is
Absolutely.
huge. And that's another thing to say is that if anybody is out there that wants to have that platform to be able to share what you have to give to the world, that's a perfect platform to do it on.
Yeah.
So go there, get your free account, check out the content, maybe even engage with the team there to figure out potentially how you can actually have your own channel and do your own your impact there. So that's what I recommend. So, all right.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions? Last chance for having a question. Yeah, Bill, go ahead. You can unmute.
Enjoyed your talk,
Thanks,
Doctor.
Bill.
My curiosity is where and when we united?
I was knighted by the one of the oldest, I think may have been the oldest royal order in the world by the House of Constantine the Great, St. Helen, and the House of Cappadocia. And Constantine was the ruler of Rome that actually made Christianity the religion of Rome. And 312 AD, this was started. And then the Turks end up in 1400s taken from there. And Prince Raphael is one of the few people in the world that legally have the ability and the authority, the legal authority to bestow, like Queen Elizabeth, titles of nobility to men and women who are exceptional in one of 8 categories. So I'm actually a knight, but I'm also a baron. There's only 3 of us in the United States. I was the first one, and I am the first African-American baron they've ever had. So we just try to help make the world better and get around wonderful people and help bring out more of the wonderfulness.
Nice, thank you.
Wow,
Thank you.
that's great.
We have an investiture every year in Chicago, and we got some wonderful people. 20 people will be knighted in June here, this June. So it's pretty cool. If you've never seen one before, it's a sight. Anybody who's ever been a little kid who liked to sword fight with the sisters, I invite them. I tell them they really should experience it, and the network is incredible.
Wow. Nice.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Bill. And then Judah has a question in the chat. Can they get access to the masterclass on the Limitless TV?
Yeah, if you go into the master, what you can do in a free account, you can click on the masterclass for the speaking, and you can click on the masterclass for the TV network, how to create your own content. The rest of the classes have to be subscription, but there's a lot of other content that there is no charge for whatsoever. So there's no charge for that whatsoever. So we have a lot of content that costs you nothing, but some because it's a membership there, because well, put it like this: even our subscribers make money, and have a leaderboard and compete and engage. Because the idea was to take you from looking at a screen and bring you in there. Like if Netflix was, let's say if Netflix was to do what you're doing right now, Robert, how many people would be on the line if Netflix did this?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
but they're not going to do that because they can't do what we do.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what it is. So we want to do something where all people can grow and create something very special together. But to answer your question, you can get that masterclass I gave you there, and a lot of the content is free in there already. We'll have a regular ongoing program like shows 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 coming up. We do pay-per-view, we do live stream, we do everything there.
Yeah, there's a lot of amazing content in there. So at the very least, set up that free account, get access to the masterclass and the other free content. And then I'm sure that will actually inspire you to want to get more. So yeah, cool. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Last chance to click on that link in the chat to open up it on your window before we shut down the Zoom here today. But that does conclude our day here today. Sir Dr. James Dentley, you are an amazing person. Thank you for your taking time out of your busy schedule today to share with our community. We deeply appreciate you. There's a message that we like to pass out that's connected to our mobile apps, and I just want to kind of share this with you. This is my message to you. It says, "Thank you for being who you are and doing what you do. Who you are is wonderful, and what you do is important." And it couldn't be more true when it comes to you. So thank you so much for being here today. We appreciate you.
Well, thank you for having me, man. If I was able to help anybody here, give you anything that was significant for you, and as long as I'm making my mother proud, who is in heaven, I'm happy, man.
Oh, I'm sure she's very proud. So thank you.
All right. God bless you
All right.
guys.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week on our next EIN call. Have a wonderful rest of your week and take care. Bye-bye, everybody.